We're live.
Yay, we're back.
Unbelievable.
I pushed the wrong fucking button.
Unbelievable. This guy. Okay, let me send a link to the other
I did
chat.
an oopsie.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, let me send a link to the other chat so that they can see my channel and this video. All right. We got one person watching.
That
okay, copy
well,
that.
that's not me actually.
Over here. And I'll mute that. All right. And
there we go. There you are. There you are. I'll give you a thumbs up.
Thank you.
Wink. Hey, Zero Option. Boingo Bear. Sorry about that. I meant to hit stop sharing so you can share the video.
Unbelievable. I tell you, folks, it's like, well, I'm not going to play that whole video, that whole Tim Pool video. I'll just talk to it. I don't really care to watch Tim Pool for 20 minutes.
So we have someone online, by the way.
Sorry?
We have someone in the chat.
Oh, hi, Sidewalk.
Yeah.
How you
How's
doing?
it going?
Hey. Good. That's what I get for accidentally posting that chat link in the chat. But it's no problem. It's no problem, Sidewalk. Happy to have you here.
Okay.
All right. So, is there anything in particular you want to talk about while you join our little party here?
This is kind of awkward because I don't really know.
So Sidewalk, you're really, really quiet. It's hard to hear you. So maybe come a little closer to your microphone, your computer, or something. Yeah. And just making sure you know as well, your video's on, just in case you don't want to show your face, or maybe you do. I don't know, but that's up to you.
I don't know how to use this, so whatever.
It's okay. It's okay. Just don't say anything incriminating, and you'll be fine. Don't utter any hate speech, and you'll be fine. So basically, just be silent. Don't say anything, so you don't get in trouble.
What you can do is there's on the top middle part of the Hangouts, there's a camera.
Yeah.
You can put camera not detected, or you can just shut that down.
Now keep in mind, you've been on camera for at least 3 minutes, so it's already out, but it's fine. And yes, I do like your avatar, which actually is a Sidewalk.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. That's real. That's real life.
So, is there anything specific you wanna talk about?
Well, no. I mean, if you guys are having some kind of technical problem, I mean, and it's not being rectified, I guess maybe the stream should end. I mean, where's everyone else?
Oh, they're coming. We got 6 watching, so
yeah,
we got quite a few. Okay. But it's okay. They'll move in. It's just the first video that Chris Gunder's hosting on his channel.
I don't have the subscriber base of Fred and definitely not AJ because I do nothing. So I just figured, hey, I'll just I'm tired of Fred's boomer screw ups, the boomer technical screw ups. I gotta jump in here, step into the breach, and
it was a mistake. I meant to, maybe it's the alcohol.
Yeah, maybe it's the alcohol.
So, anyways, there's that tranny, and then there's that young chick who's like the reporter, and she got banned from Twitter. And what's your opinion on that?
I think he's talking about that girl we talked about earlier, Fred. You know what? That discussion, some of that might have been cut out. I think that might have been in the second attempt to do the stream.
Right, Lindsay Shepherd.
Yeah.
So what she's trying to do is right now is fight to. It's basically what it is. I shouldn't be kicked off Twitter. Can I get back on Twitter? That's basically it. You know what? I think when people get kicked off Twitter, they shouldn't be worried about it. She's trying to raise it with the Human Rights Tribunal. She's trying to
really,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So she says here, Shepard said she will likely use other media outlets like YouTube to reach her followers. She said she would also consider joining ThinkSpot, a platform proposed by Jordan Peterson that is intended to act as a counter platform to Twitter and other Silicon sites. But the thing is, then now everybody's dispersed, right? Everybody's everywhere. Oh, I'm on Gab, I'm on Minds, I'm on the dark web, and
yeah,
it gets.
I don't have the patience to do like Gab and dark web and that stuff. Like I have Minds, but it's so new for me. I'm just like writing poetry on it, and I don't want really anybody to see it yet because I'm kind of still editing the poetry. I mean, I don't know how anyone else could have the patience to deal with all these other platforms. I guess maybe they're just more enthusiastic or determined about, the issues than me. I don't know.
Well, I think people want to talk about it because they get pissed off, right? Like, for example, if you have a following of 200,000 or 100,000 people on Twitter or any of these other platforms, and then all of a sudden they just kill you, and like you were reaching, and your base is growing every day, every week, every year, and you work hard towards that. A lot of content creators work hard to build up that base and to get the word out. And if you kill it, it's like taking a portion of your life away and your work that you've put in.
I mean, if you are talking about 200,000 subscribers, that is quite a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean to be nasty, but Frederick only has 200. To be humble, I only have 14. So I don't know what goes into making a subscriber base of 200,000. I have no idea. I don't even know if there's another platform that can actually equate to Twitter. I mean, is there?
Well, there's Gab, but Gab sometimes turns into a little bit of an echo chamber too, right? You want, and that's okay, right? But just keep in mind that if you're, the problem is with discourse is that you can't have discourse without without opposition. It just sounds like you're, in an echo chamber and you're just hearing other people say the same things you want to hear.
Okay.
I like the challenge of debate, and I want to be on the platform where all these lunatics are. Now, if they remove you from that, now you've got to remember people start off pretty low, right? I started off with 10, 14, and it's growing every week or a month. I'm growing slowly. I'm not putting as much effort as I should be because I have a life, but I want to get a big subscriber base, not because I'm into the monies and the berries that everybody else is after. I want my message to spread because I want to stop the changes that's happening in this country.
Is this Frederick or Chris talking?
This is me, Frederick.
Okay, yeah.
So I want to see good changes in this country, and you can't start with change unless you start waking people up. And people are asleep. They've been asleep for a really long time, and that's why a lot of these channels, they start small and they start to grow big. I mean, PewDiePie was at 200 once, and he was just a gamer. Now he talks more about the issues around where he lives in Sweden because he's seen the changes. So he's forced to talk about them, and he has a big platform. So why not? Why not use that platform to have that huge reach? Which is what the media's been doing.
Yeah, I remember about 7 years ago, I saw his channel, and it was pretty exciting. All that horror gaming stuff. It was pretty cool.
So Zero Option says he's been banned from Twitter 3 times. This whole banning shit is really dumb. It's just like my son. The story I told earlier about my son at school. Kids tease him and stuff. He just walks away. It's like, yeah, whatever. I got shit to do. And it's about a level of maturity. Like, you can't act like you're in grade school anymore. You're an adult, and the world is a mean place. You're gonna deal with assholes. You're gonna deal with nice people.
Well,
you just have to adjust.
Are not adults.
Sorry?
11-year-olds are not adults.
No, but they certainly act more like they do. A lot of the kids around with my son, they certainly act more like adults than a lot of these other people.
Yeah, but I mean, when it comes to that, though, it comes down to their parents and how they're raising them. I mean, to Sidewalk's point, these are still children. They're surrounded by adults, though. Their parents, their families, their teachers, the influences in their life. And so I can't blame that child for his behavior because he's still a child. I would blame their parents for treating them perhaps more like a friend or not being as tough with them for some things as they probably should be and letting the child lead rather than being parents and leading the children. There's a point in the future where, yes, you definitely pay more attention to what the child wants because the child has lived enough life to understand what they want, and the parent can kind of guide them in that way and go alongside them to a certain degree. But at that age, the age of your children, Fred, absolutely, those parents need to be leading, not listening to Kitty's feelings as much as they probably do all that kind of nonsense.
I don't think that it's advantageous for like any parent to like kind of treat their child or adolescent as a buddy, because there's always going to be like the child, I mean the adolescent, something's not wrong with their mind. Their mind is like kind of in this mode where it probably just wants to dominate everything it can. And so I think if the parent like thinks that they want to be like super nice for some reason to their kid and then treat them as an equal, the kid's just going to take advantage of that and exploit it and probably just try to dominate the parents and dominate the family and then become some wild thing.
Yeah, well, parenting is not easy, right? Because it doesn't matter if you've been a parent and then are a parent again by being a grandfather. It's always a new bag of tricks that you're going to have to deal with, right? Not every single kid is a little bit different. So parents do the best that they can, but the problem is that parents are no longer parenting because they don't have the time. They let the government parent. So I try to use examples that I've grown up with, that my father and parents have kind of instilled on me. And I try to, breed a little bit of an independence. Because if you look at a lot of these elites, if you look at how they parent their kids, they actually parent by letting them develop their leadership skills, by being somewhat independent and asking them what choice is the best choice and trying to guide them at the same time. But that's not happening with a lot of majority of the kids. People don't have time. They've forced women into the workforce by eroding the wages for the men. So now, to keep the lights on, men and women have to work, and they barely get to spend time with each other. They barely get to spend time with the kids because you got to decompress after a long day, and they leave the kids to the state, which is what's happening, right? Because I'm sure that kid's father has no idea what his kid's talking about. So, like I said earlier, in China, you're safe to leave your child in the care of the school because all they do is study, study, study. Nobody's teaching any of this gender fluidity crap. And if they were, the people would be in riot, regardless if it's a communist state or not, or authoritarian state. That shit doesn't fly there.
I think this whole like gender fluidity stuff is just a way of the government to try to create some kind of new Canadian identity. And in terms of wages eroding, like I haven't thought about this deeply, but I mean, it's I don't know. I think it had something to do with property values, like I don't know, property becoming more expensive because women started working. I don't know. I'm just kind of brainstorming right now.
Well, it's okay. So the problem is that I see a lot of YouTubers, they try to tackle, and it's hard, right? Because your brain feels like exploding. When I'm thinking about all of these issues that we're experiencing, and especially the West, there are tons of variables. You are being attacked from all sides, right? For example, we're being immigrated on. Like, people are not immigrating in. We're being immigrated on. And we're being immigrated from cultures who are vastly different and are very strong. They're like the Chinese are unbendable. They are really like trees. Their culture.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I'd rather use the term tradition or custom or expectation than culture, because literally culture is like, you know, I guess art and games and fun stuff. But in terms of like other races coming to Canada, I think it's better to talk about expectations, what they expect of people who are not their race because of what was socially normal in their country from which they came.
Well, we can mince words about the definition and what word to use. Overall, generally speaking, it's the same thing, right? There was a comedian once said, "Culture is just dead people's baggage. Stop carrying it." But the thing is, religion, one tradition, for all cultures on this planet, dictates their behavior. Whether you're a Buddhist or a Hindu, Sikh, Christian, Catholic, a Muslim, it guides the certain daily routines of many individuals.
Well,
And when you have
I'm not against religion, but I kind of have this feeling that religion is too important to maybe the Muslims who come to Canada, but religion is kind of non-existent among the Chinese who come here because it was kind of wiped out by the communists. And I don't know, like in terms of white people, we're kind of balanced in terms of religion. I don't think we put too much emphasis on it.
There's a growth in Christian churches in China, and a lot of Christian churches here, Chinese Christian churches here, are being built, but they have their own little flavor of Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have Zero Option join in a minute too. So they have their own little flavor. I've been to a Chinese Christian church. It's very different.
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting different flavors now, right? So you're having the colors, and now you're getting the flavors and tones. It
That's not unusual. You've had other groups have come here from Europe and other places and had their own denominations for their flavor of church they're used to from home. That's not.
Yeah, I know, but they just carry some of the stuff that I've heard, and the hypocrisy in the Chinese churches is kind of funny, right? Because they think they go there. Like, for example, they come here, they learn they have to signal. This is one example. They learn they have to signal when they're changing a lane. But It doesn't mean that, I put a signal on and I turn the lane. No, they don't understand the concept behind it. That's the problem, which is I put the signal on with my intention to turn, not giving me the right. And in a lot of the Christian churches that I've been in, you know this, Chris, that I've gone to, because of the Chinese wife, we've gone to a Chinese church. It's different. They think that they go there, they behave like assholes out there, and then they go there to the church and they're absolved of all that. They don't think that they have to live the good life. And that's what I'm talking about. Now, also there's as much as the communist government tried to erase religion, Buddhism kind of stayed pretty much the mainstay of traditional Chinese religion. But also you have the religion of capitalism over there, right? Because you replace one religion with another one that's not necessarily codified in dogma.
Sorry, you mean like being greedy and flaunting your wealth?
No, I like putting. This is just the Chinese kind of cultural thing, even without religion. But what I'm saying is that they have this codified dogma about wealth accumulation for your betterment of your family. And if it's your immediate family, they don't give a shit about everybody else. The society could be burning as long as your own family's doing great. Who cares? There's a lot of instances where they just run over kids and they just continue going. Well, it's not my kid, whatever. I'm doing fine. There's
so Sidewalk, 1 second, Brett. So Sidewalk, the chat is saying they're really having trouble hearing you. I know I'm having some trouble as well. I can hear you because I'm listening really, really carefully. But not everybody may have fancy speakers like Fred and I. So maybe just try and get as close to your laptop as possible. And I do have somebody else who's joined as well who wants to chime in if your zero option has joined us as well.
Okay.
But Sidewalk, if you come a little closer, just say something. And I'll tell you if it sounds any better.
Is this better?
No.
Okay. Is the chat still working?
Yeah, it's working.
We're still live. We're still online.
Oh, okay. So I'll just leave this and go back to the chat.
Okay. That's
Okay,
fine.
no problem.
That's fine.
Thanks for joining.
Okay, thanks a lot for joining.
Appreciate it.
And we have Zero who's joined us. Zero, let us know if you can hear if we can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you guys just fine. Thanks.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, you sound great. Thanks for joining. So
Yeah, thanks
banned
for
from
having me,
Twitter
guys.
3 times, eh?
Yeah,
you're a
I've been
bad boy.
banned 3 times, twice for outing pedos, or as they call themselves, MAPs, minor attracted persons now.
Oh, right.
Jeez.
Yeah, a bunch of fucking psychos and sickos.
Jeez. Well, they got to change the branding, right? So that you change the branding and then you work with that to build acceptance. That's why gay pride turned to pride. And now it's for everybody. And that's why you have 56 genders, because if you look at those definitions, that's everything. Like I can't think of another. I can't think of a 57th combination.
Forgot C. C is the last one. That's the last taboo.
What's what do you want to know?
Cannibalism.
Yeah. Oh, gee, well, that's coming too. That'll be
it
because to solve the food crisis. We got all these dying people. Let's just eat them.
I prefer mine with a little bit of salt and Chianti.
A little World War Z action happening, and there you go.
Well, on the bright side, those malnourished socialists will be easy pickings. So you never look so slow.
Yeah.
Well,
So
they're like the mob. So
that you wanted to discuss zero action. I do have an article. We kind of got when it got cut off. I was about to go into the Trump 4D chess stuff with the squad and not taking the bait and whatever else. But do you have something that you wanted to discuss?
No, actually, I'm looking forward to the 4D chess. I've been following it for the last couple of days now.
Okay, very good. Okay, so
let's bring it up.
Let me pop this on the screen here, and I'll read an article from a very lovely, accurate source, Vanity Fair. So,
oh, good God.
Let me know if you can see. There we go, and I think you should all be able to see that.
Aren't those the most miserable looking mutts on the face of the planet? Look at them. They can't even smile.
So why do you want them to smile so badly, Fred? Come on. If they were 4 white men, would you be looking for them to smile and look pretty?
If they smile, they lose their victimhood status.
There you go. They're unhappy. They're mad as hell, and they're not going to take it anymore.
Yeah, living in the world's most privileged country is so hard and so oppressive.
Yes. Much better than Somalia. Or much worse than Somalia. Much worse than wherever else.
And living off the
literally off the taxpayer for $180,000 US plus expenses.
Slave wages. Living off of slave wages.
Oh,
yeah,
terrible.
And weren't they just whining a little while ago about wanting a almost $5,000 a year pay raise?
Yes. Well, that's what Doug Ford did when he got in. But yeah, that's crazy.
All right. So let me just go into this a little bit, and I'll comment along the way. I think everybody can see my screen. Okay. Representatives Ayanna Pressley, Ilhan Omar, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Cortez, and Rashida Tlaib. I'm surprised I can still do that from high school. Anyways, forcefully shot down President Donald Trump's racist remarks, telling the women of color to go back to their countries in a press conference Monday. The 4 U.S. citizens who, accepting the Somalian-born Omar, were all born in the U.S., emphasized that the president's xenophobic bigoted remarks are a distraction from his inhumane policies, with Presley telling reporters, "We should not take the bait. We can sit here and continue to recycle his hateful rhetoric, of which I cannot find surprise. Because if he is nothing else predictable," Presley said, what we are focused on is the hateful policies which are draconian and oppressive and life-threatening and family-separating, which are being rolled out by his administration each day. The congresswomen were clear and direct about the nature of Trump's bigoted tweets, which Tlaib described as simply a continuation of his racist and xenophobic playbook. Yet the women were emphatic that the president's comments would not divide them or take their eye off their progressive agenda, and that other Americans of color should not take them to heart. The first note I want to tell children among this country is that no matter what the president says, this country belongs to you and it belongs to everyone, Ocasio-Cortez said. I'm not surprised at what Trump is doing, but I also know that we're focused on making it better. We don't leave the things that we love. And when we love this country, that means that we propose the solution to fix it. We'll stay focused on our script. We'll stay focused on our agenda, and we won't get caught slipping. Because of all this is a distraction. It's a distraction from what is most important from our core values of American citizens. So I'm going to pause right there. There are some really specific things they could have said they are opposed to, that Trump's comments are distracting from, but they're keeping it in this very, very vague language. There's stuff that was going on at exactly the same time that they could have specifically called out. Specifically, that Trump and the Trump administration was looking to finally rewrite the asylum laws in the U.S. where to say that to kind of get rid of this first safe third party piece or enact it, where if they're going to pass through a country that's a safe third country, like say officially, even though Mexico is gang-ridden, Mexico, or if somebody's traveling and flying to the U.S. from somewhere in Africa or somewhere in Asia, and you have to stop in Europe, in a European country or in a safe Asian country, that's a safe country. I mean, really, you don't have to come to the U.S. You just have to come to the next safe country and claim asylum there. So they're looking to get rid of that loophole completely. That was happening around the same time. That's what they should be calling out specifically. I just find it very interesting that they're not. I sounds like Brian Stelter from CNN. Are you talking about me, Cal? First off, the best Brian Stelter impression, the first Brian Stelter impression is Mark Dice. Really, and if you want, I could read this article as Mark Dice doing Brian Stelter.
Yeah, do it.
I won't though. I won't. I won't do that for people. Maybe one paragraph, not the whole thing. That would be terrible. Let me skip ahead a little bit here because I don't know.
You know what would be really funny if you asked these twats, like, okay, so you don't agree with making America great again? Like, what would the response be? No, we don't believe in America.
They could say what they don't believe in America. Hysterical is they could say, look, we think America can be better than it is. It is great and it can be greater. But no, they won't say that because that's not what they believe.
But catch them on that. Play it on them. Okay, so you don't agree with making America great?
But he is. That's part of this. and really he's forcing, because they're not being specific about certain things, and they're going to basically he's drawing out the crazy. And then the media is picking up on this and covering them in a way that makes them, to middle America, look even crazier. Well,
Trump wants this because he wants this. He wants this the face of the Democratic Party.
That's exactly what it is. And so you have Pelosi, who is basically being forced to defend her people, but at the same time not completely defend them because she's like, I don't agree with them. But and they keep going back to the whole Trump impeachment thing, and they're just looking just wacko. And meanwhile, people are looking at like the results of what's going on, and it's kind of like, guys, what? Geez, what are you looking? You're looking at the left hand as opposed to the right here. Like, I mean, they're just totally bizarre. So, Zero, you mentioned you've been following this for a few days. What are your thoughts on this 4D chess situation that? These guys not only are Trump is essentially exposing these guys to show how extreme they are, kind of making them the face of the Democratic Party, even though there's only 4 of them, and making the Democratic Party look completely radical as a result. Meanwhile, he's actually making substantial legislative change, but nobody's paying attention to that. They're all paying attention to this hysterical squad. But what do you think?
Well, sorry. First thing there that Trump basically painting these guys as the face of the Democratic Party. Well, I would say that's more of an accidental, solution to this. But I think he was more or less trying to drive an additional wedge into the Democratic Party, which is already fractured as it is. Like the primaries for the presidential candidacy is already at 27 candidates?
Yeah.
Like you can't get any more fractured than this. They're as it stands, the Democratic Party is literally going through the same phase that the Republican Party went through during the Tea Party schism, during the Obama administration.
Exactly. You're absolutely right.
And it's being played just perfectly. Like, he's managed to drive that wedge in there. He's making legislative change to not only appease his base by managing to close the loophole for all the asylum seekers, while simultaneously still getting obstructed on his wall and the funding for the ICE detention centers for the in-process refugees. He's basically making the Democrats out to literally be the bad guys in everything.
Yeah.
He's come out and said, I want to fund the detention centers so they have decent conditions. I've been blocked.
Yeah. And blocked by these four. These
Yep.
ones who are going out in Ocasio-Cortez putting on a Oscar-worthy performance about conditions, and she's voted against millions of dollars to improve conditions and build capacity to solve this problem. I think at least 3 times, maybe 4.
It's 4 times already. And the thing is these are all Obama era regulations. They're literally arguing against their own interest. Like, everything that is going on right now in terms of these ICE detention centers were all set up during the Obama administration. For Pete's sake, he was called the deporter in chief. He deported more illegal immigrants than any other president in history. And as it stands, it's like Trump. He hasn't done nearly as much as Obama in terms of border security because he's being obstructed. And I don't know. I lost where I was going with this.
It's okay. There's a lot going on. I think we all feel that way sometimes with all the things flying around these days.
Everything is just so bloody entwined at the moment with what's going on in the border, and using it as a wedge to basically shatter the Democratic Party. Trump, as long as he campaigns the same style with adding the obstructionism, he's got 2020 locked down. There's no way the Democrats can recover.
I was going to say the same thing. Like, it wasn't all his part. Dude, there was friction within the party the moment Ocasio-Cortez got elected, right? So occasional cortex, and he's just using this now. He's just taking the wedge and he's digging it in deeper.
Yeah, exactly.
And the thing is, I don't agree with that whole 4D chess thing. I think things have fallen into his lap and he's taken advantage of it. And I didn't think it was a perfect opportunity. Like, these women are a literal blessing for him. And the Democrats are now trying to figure out, shit, how do we keep these people on a leash and get them to, like, pull them back? Because what happens is now you get these silly lefties, who support lunatics like this because they think they're all out with their hands open, right? Like, oh, I don't want to work for anything. You give it to me. So you're going to get these people who are going to look at these 4 as heroes, right? Look, they're standing up to Trump. We're going to, make the country better. And then you have the Democrats. So they have to tread very softly, because if they start becoming belligerent with these, they're going to look like the enemy, and they're going to be easily voted out, right? Because I think it was Pelosi who once said on stage, in occasional Cortex's district, a glass of water like this could win.
And it did.
Right.
Unless it was more like a glass of beer because she was a bartender.
So they're fucked. The Democrats are not going to win this. Like, this is Trump's in the bag, right? Like, this was his blessing.
100%.
I don't think 2024 is going to be Democrats either. They're still going to fracture because it's somewhere in this lunatic loop that they're on.
Yeah,
they're going to start eating themselves.
Yes, but at the same time, the right can do the same thing. The right can absolutely do the same thing to itself, because it won't be Trump in 2024. Who's going to have the magnetism, the personality, the whatever to the force of will on the Republican side? Who's Trump's successor? And don't say Don Jr. Who's his natural successor in the Republican Party to lead them in 2024?
I would go with Dan Crenshaw on that one.
Maybe there are people there are people in the ranks with that personality. Dan Crenshaw might be somebody. That'd be interesting. That'd be a really badass president with one with the eye patch and everything.
Former special operator there, or special forces operator.
Yeah, special forces. CIA could put like some like lasers under his eye patch or something. That'd be great.
But anyway. That would be kick-ass. I'd hope to see under that eye patch one day, and there's like a glass eye in there with a little bullseye on it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's something straight out of an 80s like action movie.
Actually, it'd be even better if you open the eye patch and the eye is actually fine, and he just like winks and then puts it back down, or flips it to the other eye just to kind of screw with people. It's like
that would be also hilarious.
That would be great. So Dan Crenshaw will be one, but that's the thing. I mean, Ocasio-Cortez right now is essentially, and her supporters are, and the people who support her, what she believes in, are raising her profile right now, so that as the next elections come, she's a candidate. Bernie missed out big time in the last election because the Democrats screwed themselves by making Clinton the nominee as opposed to sabotaging Bernie, and now he lost that was his window. The 2016 was his window. You see the polls right now for the Democrats. I mean, not that things can't change, but he's not in the top 4 or 5. I think Warren. Last time I checked, it was Biden. It was oh my gosh, I can see her, but I can't think. But the
Kamala
one who
Harris.
Excuse me.
I believe Kamala Harris was second in that
Thank
one.
you. Kamala Harris is second. Mayor Pete is up there. I don't remember if he's in the top 5. Elizabeth Warren is up there. Bernie might be number 4, and I can't remember who's number 5. But when we look into the percentage, it's not even close. Like Bernie's at like 12%, and Biden's at like 30 something. So, but we're still early days. So we'll see. I mean, Biden has so many skeletons in his closet. I can't imagine. But then again, I didn't think Trump would actually make it to the end because of all the stuff in his closet. And look at him. I mean, he got even more support. So,
but with the Democrats' constant purity spiraling, I can see them eating Joe Biden right away because he's everything that the progressives hate. He's an old white male.
Yeah,
and he's been in power too long. They'll eat him alive. They'll put Kamala Harris in the lead.
He's already on the defensive, and Warren came to his aid, saying how could you guys
she's white too, so she has to be careful.
Well, whitest woman in America.
He's so old, they're going to put like a young person of color as his vice president, and you got to get the death pool out on Joe Biden if he gets elected. Because whoever's his VP will have a very good chance at becoming president, just due to his age, or even if they're not formally the president. Biden, I mean, people are talking about Hillary Clinton's health and her cognitive abilities on the last campaign. Biden is looking tired already, so I can't imagine what he's doing in the presidency. The VP will be the real president, or Biden's family.
Well, the other thing is that even Michelle Obama wouldn't back him.
Yeah, she was just like, yep, no comment.
That was horrible.
Yeah.
But it just goes to tell you
his window was last time too. His window was 2016. I made an erroneous comment on the last stream where I said, or 2 streams ago, where I said the Obamas didn't want Joe Biden to run. They actually did. They actually did want Joe Biden to run. He opted not to because he was kind of pushed out by the Democratic establishment who felt it was Clinton's turn, even though I think Biden versus Trump 4 years ago would have been a very interesting, a much more entertaining debate than what we got with Trump and Clinton. With the dirt that both those guys have in their closets, would have been very, very interesting to see. But anyways, yes. So Zero, what else do you think about this 4D chess business and this story?
Honestly, I think it's to sum up this 4D chess. Trump, he's a masterful negotiator. The guy's been in business a long time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's had a lot of businesses fail, but he's also had a lot of businesses succeed. So he's obviously not a dumb man. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like you mentioned, it's a perfect storm. It's landed in his lap, and he's taking full advantage of it. And good on him. Someone would have to be politically inept not to take advantage of a situation like that. He's guaranteed the Republican ticket for at least the next 2 terms.
Yeah, well, I'm just concerned about that secession plan. I mean, he didn't seem to your point. I mean, Trump is definitely not a traditional president, but I think the traditions have, led the country to a certain path, which isn't exactly the right direction. So I think this kind of reset was acquired. And I think what America needs to do is find someone who's going to continue these policies, to continue with that level of strength. And maybe not 100%, but certainly, and preferably without some of the gaffes. But I think some of the gaffes are, quote unquote, gaffes are very strategic, and that they're distracting people because legislation is being passed, things are happening. You don't hear about any of it. You just hear about whatever, Trump tweeted, to get a tweet storm about something, and that's what everybody focuses on. Everybody's focusing on the left hand. Meanwhile, things are happening behind their back, over their head, under their feet, behind their back. All kinds of stuff is going on. So
I'm gonna throw a pawn to you guys.
Sure.
I'm gonna ask you, what do you think about Ted Cruz, our own little Albertan? Because as of late, he's been looking pretty good in terms of the congressional hearings against Twitter and whatnot.
Yep.
He seems to be kind of abreast with the tech. Like some of the older guys, when Facebook was in front of Congress, they were asking really dumb questions, but he seems to be kind of aware of what's going on. And he's been kind of making a name for himself, if you haven't noticed already, because, I'm surprised no one's looking at this guy. And he seems, I know he ran in 2016 and had issues, but now he's looking better than ever before in ship-shop shape. And then there's been rumors, right? But they're just rumors about the guy from Fox. What's his name? Mr. Bowtie.
Tucker
Carlson?
Really?
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson would actually probably pull the same blue collar vote that Trump pulled.
Yep.
Yeah. I think one of the other things, probably the biggest accomplishment, I'd say, in contrast with the pushing and pulling Democrats are going through, where they're kind of searching for an identity, is really what they're trying to do. The Republicans, as you mentioned, Zero, were going through this, really the first, probably during the Clinton years, and again during the Obama years as well. Kind of looking for that identity with the Tea Party and the Freedom Caucus and all these other groups as well. But they've really unified, it seems, I should say, and it's not complete, but they've really unified under Trump, especially compared to after his first election. They've really come together. And Ted Cruz is one of those guys that, had to bend the knee and kiss the ring after a while. I'll never forget during that campaign when Trump kind of made a comment about Cruz's wife and how she wasn't attractive compared to, he likes to date beautiful women, and Ted Cruz's women. And he had a nickname for Ted too. I can't remember, something Ted. I can't remember. He had nicknames for everybody. And Ted Cruz came out. Excuse me?
I would believe it was Tiny Teddy.
I don't think it was Tiny Teddy, but I like that. I'm going to go with it. I'm going to run with that. He probably is tiny. But anyways, so Ted says, you come after me. You can come after me, but you come after my family. You come after my wife. There's going to be a problem, mister. Because I'm from Texas.
No, but think about it from this perspective. A running of Ted Cruz along with Tucker Carlson.
Hold on, friend.
All right, go ahead.
But in the very next scene, when Ted Cruz came out, there was this image. I'll never forget this video with Ted Cruz on the phones in a Trump campaign office in Texas, trying to call people. Oh, and AJ's in the chat. Hey, AJ.
AJ, get on. What the hell you been doing, buddy?
and on the phone for Trump. But even at the beginning of the Trump presidency, he was on CNN and on Fox denouncing the guy. But now he is absolutely on the Trump train. And I think what you're going to see of Fred and team is you're going to AJ's been explaining where he's been. If you look in the chat, he's going to tell you where he's been tonight. I think what they're trying to do is kiss the ring and get that endorsement from Trump. Like Trump, negotiation-wise, has a different style, and he has no reason to endorse anybody at this point because he's going to be around for the next term. That's his plan. So you'll probably start to see him start to kind of get behind certain people in his next term and kind of endorse that next person to kind of take the mantle from him. Maybe that is a Ted Cruz. Maybe Lindsey Graham takes a shot. Like who? Oh my God,
yeah,
President Lindsey.
But
who knows? Because he's getting on board too. Like there's all kinds of traditional Republicans who are getting on the Trump train. So,
but just look at the branding that Ted Cruz is building, right? And he can coalesce that Latin vote because he has that Latin name with a Latin father. He
Well,
can coalesce
Canadian heritage. Yep.
the Canadian heritage, the cowboy from Alberta, right?
Yeah.
And if he chooses his vice with Tucker Carlson, I think that would be an unbreakable team. There's no way he would lose.
That would
I
be
mean,
a
we've
pretty
seen
epic
him.
team.
Yeah, that would be because I think he's a little bit better spoken than Trump.
Yeah.
Trump can speak off the cuff, but
that was his appeal to the Midwest flyover voters. He spoke just like them. And honestly, the Republicans, if they want to maintain that level of popularity that Trump's maintained, they need to maintain a good firm hold on the flyover America, where basically all the Democrats have forgotten.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what we also saw with the last campaign, how strategic the Trump campaign was in terms of where they went that, say, Clinton didn't. And really just saying, hey, look, it's not the popular vote, it's the electoral college that wins this thing. So even just looking at it, like, what does it take to really become president? And where do I need to get votes? And just focusing really there. So I think AJ is going to join us shortly. And folks, if anybody else wants to jump on, just put your hand up in the chat, and we can have a call-in thing. I have it set up so that your video and audio will be muted when you start. But go ahead.
So to put it in a way, I don't think Trump was playing 4D chess. I agree completely that he's a very smart man. Obviously, he runs a business. He's run very successful businesses, and failure. A lot of people point out, well, he's gone bankrupt. All businessmen do, right?
Yep.
It's a strategy that they do, and in America, unlike here, going into bankruptcy is not a big deal. It's like everyday occurrence.
Yep. Especially his business, especially under business. You structure things the right way. Yep. And I mean, you didn't see Trump losing his home. You didn't see Trump losing anything in terms of his outward appearance, at least in terms of his lifestyle, in terms of what impacted him, because he structured things in a way that allows him to insulate from that. I think, and as a real estate investor in the U.S., I believe it's called a 1038. And I might have the designation incorrect, but I'll explain the concept. And that is, when you sell a piece of real estate, as long as you take the profits and invest it in another piece of investment property, not somewhere you live, but other investment property, you pay no taxes on the increase. And you just keep doing that over and over and over again, keep reinvesting into investment properties, and you just don't pay taxes. So that's one of the reasons why Trump doesn't want to show his tax returns, is because you're not going to see a lot of taxes paid there, because he is a real estate investor as one of his major sources of income. So but it has to be done very carefully. You have to have the right team around you, do it the right way. And you can point to him, and some of the businesses failing and whatnot, but you can also point to him not paying a dime out of his own pocket and borrowing other people's money and selling himself as an investor. Right. So
the Canadian Bronfman did that with a development in the US, right?
Yep.
Nobody bats an eye for that. So like when people stress, oh, well, he's like a failed business, bullshit. They all do it. Every single one of them.
Edison went bankrupt. Henry Ford went bankrupt as well. I mean, failure is a part of success. I mean, you have to fail sometimes to.
I want people to go and try to open up a hotel, and unorganize the build of it, the sale of it, promotion, marketing. Fuck off. These people when they talk shit like that. So he's a businessman, right? And sure, he had some money from Pappy and Mammy. Who cares? He was just like, lucky that way. But otherwise, there's tons of people that I know, especially the Chinese, that just blew their money on Lambos and shop at Yorkdale, Holt Renfrew, and blow all their money away. There's no chances of ever, increasing their value. Yeah. So he's a smart man, but 4D chess, no. Like this was just an opportune time. It might have even been by accident too. Like, because he knows. I know you and I work in, I don't know, I'm not sure about Zero, but you and I work with professional people and VPs. We see sometimes they have a very good sense of humor, right? They see all angles. So, I could see that he probably used this as an opportunity, and it was building anyway. It was building way before, I just basically after the election, people were like mocking AOC immediately, right? Like, what's this woman doing in Congress? Mm-hmm. She's making weird videos. And then you saw that I think it was Elizabeth Warren was trying to make very similar videos with her husband. Oh, here, my hubby, let's have a beer. Without
that video was so NPC.
Oh, terrible.
It was horrible, but she's trying.
Cringe.
We're just gonna relax and have a beer like a normal American. Because stupid people who vote for me like beer, right? You guys like beer, right? Because I can have a beer. I'm a normal. Yep.
Hey AJ, how you doing?
What's up, man? How's it going, buddy?
Hey, I'm trying to reach you, man. I don't. I know you've been busy on the roof and with family, but
yeah. No, sorry, fucking long day today.
How are you surviving with the heat? With work and everything? Is it really hot over? I know it's almost 40 degrees here in Toronto this week. Is it hot in Winnipeg as well?
Yeah, it was hot here like this week, but not. It was more humid and shit because it's like raining / hot.
Right.
And 2 weeks ago was a lot worse. But yeah, I heard there's like a huge heat wave going through Toronto and all that crap. But
oh yeah, it's the humidity. But AJ,
farm guys.
Pardon?
Any of you guys farmers?
I grew up in the country. My dad, not particularly farmer, but a bunch of farmers and shit.
It's gonna be a bad year for staple grains and hay.
Yeah,
probably. The fields out here have lodged bad. It's gonna be a lot of ruined crops.
Yeah, that's growing season won't be good.
Oh shit! That means bread and shit's gonna be more expensive.
It's gonna get expensive. Like a lot of the crops out here are just drenched. It's been raining like nonstop.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. Where are you?
Where are you from?
They imported from China.
Where are you from? Zero.
I'm out here in Edmonton, just north of Edmonton.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been raining here like for the past couple of weeks, like fucking on and off a bunch. So it's probably been like that there.
It's a climate emergency, so make sure you open your wallets and give your money to the China Infrastructure Bank because they'll
they're welcome to have what few pieces of pocket lint I've got left in my wallet.
So I wanted to start off the stream with just my financial situation because I am desperately looking for contract work. I don't know. I was used to the good pay, and so I'm working this full weekend. I'm actually online right now, and I have to work tomorrow. I have to work Sunday. I'm working right through. I'm doing the graveyard shift. Probably won't get home till about 4:00 on Sunday. And I've asked my boss. I'm like, listen, okay, I know I'm in management and we don't get overtime, but can I get time in lieu? Because I've worked 7 days this week. I've worked over 90 hours plus. Oh, what are you like? Are you kidding me? No, we can't do that. No. And meanwhile, they keep firing people. They've been firing people since January.
Can you tell me about these firings? Who's left over there?
No one. No one. They're merging.
They got that huge building. I won't disclose the company, but they got this huge campus all over the place. Like, who's there?
I don't like the look of that, man. To be honest, I don't like the look of, what? When they were firing people for my in the oil rigs in Alberta, like my brother's wife's dad or whatever, and he was like kind of like the boss supervisor. They made him like fire a bunch of people and all this shit. And like, oh, you're safe. And like, overtime, and they fired him too and shit. And you're like, I feel like, man, I don't feel very secure here. You're firing all these people. Like, what the fuck? And then you're squeezing me. Companies like that, they don't give a fuck, man. They're gonna do that. They're gonna squeeze you and then they're gonna toss you out. I'm not saying that's what they're going to do, but I'm not trying to scare you either. But I'm just saying, like,
no, I'm assuming. So it's going to be next month. Will be my 1 year anniversary as a full timer, and I thought I would bag. Don't say that. Don't jinx me. I thought 3 months after
husband.
When I was interviewed, this is funny, and they're all women. All of them are women. Directors, senior managers, VPs. Shit, And it's like, when I was interviewed, she says to me, well, what makes you, what? So I know in contracting, you make a lot more money, but why would you want to go to full time? I said, because there's no jobs. The jobs have all dried out. And this is my only option to keep my family going and fed, you know? And, okay, so what guarantee do I have you're going to stay? And I said, what guarantee do I have that you're not going to fire me if there's no work and I'm on the bench?
Yep.
Because in the job that I am in, if I'm on the bench too long, you sure as hell they're going to fire me. Because they don't have, we split things by capital cost and operational cost. That department only is a capitalized department. So which means any projects that they get is capitalized by the business, and they give them the money and you run with it. So if that department's not getting any operational funding, you're out. So she's like, okay, fair enough. Like, why ask me stupid questions? I asked her too. I said, well, what if you got a new director's role and they've offered you another additional $10,000 a year? Would you turn it down for loyalty? No, you get the fuck out of there and go.
Will you give me a $10,000 raise for loyalty?
And look, they just fired a bunch of like full-timers. They wiped out an entire department. They put a project in my hands, and I'm like, it's a complete mess. I understand the girl that was let go, like she was pissed off because she erased everything on her laptop, and it was all gone. And this is like, it's driving people nuts, right? I was at a Walmart today. You know, they're bringing in people, but there's no jobs. So we're bringing in all these migrants with low skill levels. So what are they going to do? Work at Tim Hortons, work at Walmart, and stuff like that.
Their plan, right?
But they want to pay even less and less for.
No. But I was so hungry. I was I'm on a lean diet because I want to get all ripped, and I was starving because I cut out bread, and I had to get something at Walmart, some cans of tuna or something to eat, and maybe some chicken and throw it in a salad. I couldn't get through the line because they wiped out, I think it was 6 tills. They only have 2 tills left. The rest are all self-serve.
What the fuck? Really?
Right.
Self-serve shit?
Yep.
Self-serve. And a huge line.
Was this Walmart?
Yeah, the one near us.
One of them all?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't like that one, but I never go there. But the last time I was there,
Walmart's period.
It's like more and more. The last time I was there, I was shocked at how many cash registers that normally have people are gone, and they just expanded that self-serve section. It's got to be 15 to 20 self-serve kiosks.
Was it 15, 20? Maybe, yeah.
Probably,
I know they just have
the
2.
New one. And maybe, or they used to have maybe 15 cash registers. They maybe have like 4 to maybe 6 at this point, and everything else is self-serve.
I read a story a while ago too, where they were saying some old lady was like, they forced her to go into the self-serve too because I don't know, I guess she only had a few items or something, and she's like, well, I'm old and I want to do this, and like, no, use the self-serve. Like, but you're right here, you're telling me to use it, you could just use the till. No, it's against the rules.
Home Depot's like that too. I mean, Home Depot's wiped all of their tills, and they've replaced it with self-serve, which is dumb because they're so fucking cheap that now they've placed the burden of me doing the job that the store should do onto me, and I'm doing it for free.
And then they don't have to pay a cashier, benefits and everything else. Those kiosks will pay for themselves in no time. Probably already have paid for themselves in no time. Don't have to retrain people. They just reprogram the computer and push an update out to them.
I think that there's going to be probably situations where these kiosk type things will be okay and will be kind of like, oh, nice.
Yeah.
Whatever, right? But I think that there will always be a market for customer service, right? Like, there's going to be competition, right? And there's going to be some companies that are going to offer you a real person to engage with. And, it may cost them a little bit more for their business, but it could pay off in the long run because everybody just goes there instead of going to the place where they have to like interact with robots all day, right? You know, so they want to talk to a person, they want to say like, oh, hello or something, right? So, you know, I think that there'll still be some jobs, but yeah, right, like, you know, it is steadily moving in that direction in safe ways, and I've noticed that too, right?
People don't think they need to think outside the box. There was this one movie, and I love it. It's very obscure with Mel Gibson in it, and he's this thief. I don't know if anyone's seen it, which movie I'm talking about. He's a thief, and he goes to a Mexican jail, right? And he bamboozles everybody to get out and get his money. And he's looking at a picture, and he's like, let's think outside the box. And he figures it out, right? Because there's a puzzle to it. People don't
Isn't
think.
Bird on a Wire?
Yeah, Bird on a Wire. There you go. And the thing is, you know, people have to start questioning, like, why am I now? I'm patronizing you. Do you want my money or not? And now you're making me an employee of yours, but for free, or paying for bags, which Stewardship Ontario collects all that money and they keep it, right? No one questions what are they doing with the money that they collect for about these bags. Calculate it. The number of bags per Walmart that comes out that has their tampo on it. They should be paying you, by the way, because you're marketing their company. 5 cents per bag. Used to be free. And these bags they degrade a lot quicker and faster because they're so shit. They rip even by the time you get home. But overall, they degrade a lot faster in the society. So you're forced to buy these thick plastic bags. And the other thing is that they're forcing you to pay for the tampo printing of their marketing on the bag. If I go to Holt Renfrew and I buy like a $200 jacket, they give you a big, huge bag. You don't even need a big bag. It's the size of a car. Here you go, sir. Thank you very much for shopping at Holt Renfrew. Thanks for buying whatever, one of the bigger brands, right? Thank you very much. Here's your free bag.
Fuck, I don't even recall paying for bags at the weed store.
Right. So, and this is a cartel. And I talked to the manager today. I said, "Listen, man, I'm patronizing your store. Can I just want to pay? I got 3 items. I just want to pay someone. Can I go and pay at the cosmetics?" They shut that down. The cosmetics till is gone. The electronics till is gone. And he's like, he's this little Asian guy. He's like, I was like, they might as well replace you with a robot too. You're completely useless as well. Right? So, like, this country is in deep shit. If you're saying we're going to have a bad season on our crops, the Chinese are not buying our shit already, right? So the stuff is there sitting and rotting if they're not pushing it out.
Pretty much. I've seen a lot of drop in grain traffic too. Like, I live out by the railroad tracks here, and it's a lot of grain line. And I haven't seen a whole lot of grain trains going through the last little while. And now with our beef not even going to China anymore, I'm hoping beef will come down in price, but it probably won't.
Right, because they'll get subsidized.
Yeah.
Well, we have a
God
big
forbid
huge market
beef drop in price.
We have.
I know it's expensive right now.
Yeah, but it's extremely expensive. You want to, like, you know, I prefer to eat beef over chicken, but chicken seems to be a lot cheaper.
No, yeah, chicken's sure expensive for meat fucking too, man. Like, I don't know what it is, but chicken's pricey here too. Like, I don't know, maybe if you get thighs or something.
We're paying about $5 a kilo for chicken out here.
A kilo? A kilogram?
Yeah.
What? Like of what? What type of chicken? Like a whole chicken?
Either whole chickens or like thighs or breasts. Wings are still ungodly expensive though.
Breasts? You're
getting I find the wings, the drumsticks are expensive, but not the breasts.
For $5. It's like that's like $20 for me. I'm not even joking you, man. Like
yeah, Manitoba's bloody expensive.
Man, it's fucking in beef. Like it went up. I was buying like 2.5 kilograms of ground beef for like $15, and then one day I go and it was like up to like 21. I'm like, what the fuck? It went up $6. I'm like, that's huge. And then went back down for a bit. I was like, oh, okay, that must have been temporary. I went back and it was back up to that again.
That's
So
not just that. It's not
you know,
just
and
that.
that's the thing too. Like, I looked in the chat earlier, and you know, it's like, you know, with these self-serve things, technically we should be getting cheaper prices, right?
Absolutely.
But we don't, because you know, a lot of the times, you know, we see like Loblaws got like a $12 million subsidy for freezers, and you know, they were doing that price fixing thing. You know, they're practically monopolies and shit too. So you know, if there was there were actually competition, then people using these price saving devices would then trickle down to the consumer. But the way it is working now, it's like now nobody's working and the food is going up, and you're like, what the fuck?
Have you guys seen how cheap the food is in the States?
Ridiculous. People
Just never mind the food, the gas.
Yeah.
I went to
part of
Boston last year. I was like, oh my god,
this is all
gotta
part of
fill
the
it
shit.
before I hit-
milk was like $1.20.
Yeah,
Right. It's like $5 here, man. For
Yeah.
$5 for a 4 liter of milk there.
the shit we pay for stuff is ridiculous. Like for example, bikes. I like biking, right? I like mountain biking, doing the trails. I built my bike. I got a source. There's 3 companies, Giant, Trek, and I forgot the other one, that are all made in not Hong Kong, but the island, Taiwan. Yeah, and I got it's through eBay, and I got a hold of this guy. He
Taiwan.
runs the factory. Taiwan. Yeah, right.
I was right.
Have a rice day.
And he builds, like, he owns the factory. So I got some really key parts, top of the line, and I built my bike from the ground up. I kept buying parts little by little.
You're like Drake.
Started from the bottom. Or Taiwan.
And
Yeah.
I don't know, Drake. I don't watch rap, guys. Too old for
I
that.
don't watch them
But-
either, but that's a lot. I do know that.
Everybody knows that one.
So the bike, if you were to buy that bike here, right, you'd spend $4,000 to $5,000. I spent $2,500 building it. The stuff that they sell you, food, clothes, gas, cars, shit. We are being reamed up the ass, and there's no jobs. But I see tons of new cars every day. The minute a new BMW comes out, boom, it's out on the market. I'm like, what the? Maybe people are complaining they don't have no money. But where's the money?
There's a lot of debt.
Well, there are also a lot of debt. Yeah, these car companies are financing everything. So
Yeah, my mom got a new car she can't afford.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like a lot of people are driving shit they can't afford. Living
I
in
just
things they can't
financed
afford.
a $12,000 Kia.
Right. You know, like
yeah,
Then
I
I'll have
think
paid
people-
off in
what they
40
think they
years.
can
It's
afford
done.
what they think they can afford is what they can borrow, is what they can approve to borrow, which isn't what you can afford. It's what they'll let you hang yourself with.
Well, no.
Yeah.
But here's the other factor, right? I wanted to get into a house because this house, this shitty semi that I live in, that we paid $650 for, and I shit you not, I checked it the other day. It's worth 1.4 for a shitty 1,200 square foot semi detached home. When I tell my American friends about this, they're laughing.
Yeah.
They're like, what the now in certain parts like New York and shit like that, like California, like, yeah, okay, I get it. There's another bubble growing there. But this house is not worth $650. It's not worth 1.4. It's worth maybe $350 or $250. And
Look at that trailer.
we got into this home because my wife was working out, well, we're not going to have a pension. Like, I might have a little bit of a pension, but it's not going to cover us. So we buy this home and we sell it later, and that's our pension. That's what we're going to live off. I'm not going to have a pension. You guys, forget about it. Like, I don't know what you're going to do.
I've got investments.
Right. But, you know, if those investments go south, like, and the same thing, I got to insure. My cat's doing acrobatics on my Calvin. Can you help the cat? Because the cat's like struggling there and it's going to break its head neck.
Why is your kid?
Hurry up. Oh. Oh, did you? Oh, jeez Christ! The little kitten was hanging off the my stationary bike, but for dear life.
Did
Sorry
he land
about
on his
that.
feet?
No, I think he caught her. Anyway, he's playing Warframe. So like if the market goes sour and I lose my job, that's it. I lose the house. And then where am I going to go? Because I can't go out west. I'm trying to figure out. I got to leave Toronto, and I think you've been thinking about that too, Chris. Like,
Yeah,
where
I'm
are we
thinking
going to
about
go?
going south. I'm not thinking about Canada at all.
Yeah, you've been talking about that for a long time about going south, and then I started talking about going like to Texas. I was looking at the house prices. They're like, "Ooh, shit! Look what I can afford. I can sell mine for 1.4."
Remember, they don't necessarily. It's not like you're going to make Toronto money in Texas, so there is a bit of a balance there as well.
Yeah, no, the like even high level foremen in the trades down in Texas only make $23-24 an hour.
Yeah, even for the kind of work that we're in Fred, I mean, you can make what you make, but you probably
cost of living,
which wouldn't be the worst thing in the world there because you're going to want health insurance. So I don't know, but housing is definitely going to be cheaper, especially if you're in Dallas or Plano or.
Oh no, I was looking at complete detached with was it almost 221 square foot home, 2,100 square foot home with a huge lot, with a pool and everything. I think they were asking something for like 600. Right. So I mean, I can buy the house outright, like if it just convert it into US. And if I finance it, I can find a job, I can live off that money. But then I was like, when Texas was going all liberal, I was like, forget it. Because they're going to turn it into what they turned.
A long way to go before they're anywhere close to Ontario. So
no.
You should go to Florida.
Yeah,
you
Florida.
could be like one of those Florida men, like those Florida people. You ever heard of that? Like that Twitter account?
Yeah, no, there's just something wrong in the water in Florida. Last year when I was there, that place is just strange. All kinds of strange.
Yeah, so Florida is a weird place. I've been there dozens of times.
Strange?
My family lives down there. But they also have, one of the reasons why you hear so much about them is because they have disclosure laws that mandate that they make people who are charged with crimes public within less than 24 hours. So you hear about everything.
Yeah, like they'll show everything, every detail about you.
Yeah, every detail gets released immediately.
Really?
Yeah, the reason we sure the heat down there is just cooking everyone's brain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look up
And
shit about Texas and like peak criminals and stuff, and they'll be like, this person was caught jerking off 50 times, or like, he lives here, went to this school.
It could be too that they went nutty back in the 80s when Castro emptied his jails, right?
Yeah.
Well, also in the 80s, I think it was probably more the massive reams of cocaine that made people go crazy and put something in the water than anything Castro did.
I don't know.
Yeah, there was some
release
levels of cocaine there in the 80s.
Castro did release all of his criminals because what's his name is like, hey, bring them over. Pretty much what Canada is doing right now, or America. Like, you know what? Like Mexico and all these people, they're just getting rid of the people that cost them money. Right. Like the other day, a while ago, they were laughing because their economy is doing better and America is doing worse. They're like, well, yeah, because you just shuffled off all of your poor people to them. Now you don't have to deal with pay for them and all this shit. You're like,
well, you know what's going to happen? You're going to have all these people that are in the States now and finding it more difficult, right? They're going to move up north. Because welfare isn't as easily accessible in the U.S. as it is in Canada.
No, we won't let them come in, though.
Oh, we won't let them?
Of course we won't.
Why would we let Americans immigrate unless they're like refugees escaping Trump?
Well, they'll escape the climate emergency.
Right.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we let Puerto Ricans in?
You see a bunch of white people come to the border, they'll be like, no.
No, I'm talking about Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Hondurans.
Oh well, yeah, well, Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
we get the
that's
first
already
taste of an
happening because
Albertan winter.
people who are illegal in the States are afraid of Trump, so they're coming north to Canada.
right. The only people, like the people they're taking in are like the refugees that are, or the asylum seekers or whatever that are, afraid of being deported or something. And well, not even, they're taking people that are just flying into America and crossing the border as well. They don't discriminate. They don't give a shit, it seems like. But go
So
ahead.
we're in a. I've been looking out west. Alberta was always a good So watch this. I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story. It's always interesting because I always get the Chinese side of things. So we had a relative come last week, and I tried to keep my distance. Now I'm being polite because I know this is family. But I've always told my wife, listen, man, don't get me involved if no one can speak English. I'm tired of that. When we first met, I was always asking, what did he say? What did she say? What? Blah, blah, blah. Fuck off. You come into the country, you speak two official languages. There's French and English, right? Or you at least try.
Mhm.
So this couple lived in Toronto for a while. So they came here, they're relatives. And driving me nuts because they couldn't even do a handshake. So they would give me the handshake and there was that awkward, okay, yeah, nice meeting you. Let go. And I had to pull my hand away like I was some kind of pope awkwardly. It's like, that was really awkward. Anyway, so I was told later they've moved to Alberta. They love it there. They're making tons of money. The guy's been here for about 17 years, can't speak a lick of English. Neither can his 3 kids. And the kids are like 5, 10, and 11. None of them speak English. They're all full bang on Chinese. They didn't like Toronto because Toronto was too difficult to live in, right? People, she couldn't find a job and he couldn't find a job. So they've moved to Alberta. He works as kind of like a technician on one of the oil fields, makes good money. She works at a restaurant serving coffee in a Chinese restaurant. Now, this is going to happen, I guarantee you. They're going to call their family in Toy San. This is where a lot of the Cantonese come from. And they're going to say, hey, yeah, you got to come to Alberta. Forget about going to Toronto. Come to Alberta. It's great. And you're going to have floods of these people coming in who are not going to speak English, who are not going to follow the rules, who are just going to act any way they want.
Take the pressure off Toronto then. Jeez, go out west. Oh my God.
Start going around
coming here. Like, I swear, just go. Canada's a big country. Spread it out.
We need to go walking around with tiki torches saying they will not replace us. They will not replace us.
With the tiki torches.
Yeah. That's my plan.
That's going to be
get ready to go to the parliament.
That's a short-lived plan, man. The problem is that now there's how do you turn back the clock? Like you could say, okay, we're going to stop immigration, right? And that's a good start. But the problem is, I think that's impossible to do anymore because you're going to get so much backlash of these groups. Like, I want to bring in my grandmother. I want to bring in my cousin. I have a business.
Unite our family.
Right.
My kids are in cages in my home country, in my house.
But who cares? You know what I mean? Like it's like, okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Do when it takes 9 weeks just to see a doctor for a freaking booster shot because each doctor's got to take care of freaking 5,000 people. Like, at what point do our services get stretched to that point where doctors are saying, fuck this, I'm going somewhere else with fewer people?
Right.
Yeah,
so
they're going to leave.
I'm going to address, Sidewalk was on the chat a little earlier, and I'm going to address something about like the cultural tradition, like, and, just the way they operate, the modus operandi. The Chinese here, there's a sneeze. Okay, I got to go see a doctor. Most Canadians that I've been surrounded by, including Chris, we get a little sick. We don't go see a doctor. It's, unless you're puking blood.
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't seen a doctor in years.
But these people, they're in the doctor's office every second, every hour. You know why?
Well, actually, that's not true. I sprained my ankle a little while ago. Other than that,
well, that's different, right?
No, when you legitimately need it, that's different.
Yeah.
Right. But these people, the reason they go for every little thing is because, wow, doctor's free. because in China you have to pay for it. You have to pay for it.
Well, in
And
China, the state will charge you for the boat they used to execute your family member.
my father-in-law, nice guy. He helps with the kids and stuff, but he drives me a little bit crazy. But he needed heart surgery, and in China he was a police officer, so big commie, right? They wouldn't treat him. They were going to let him die. And he comes here, boom, gets the operation right away. And I was like, fuck, what the fuck, man? There's people waiting here to do all kinds of stuff. They give him a triple bypass, right?
Yeah.
And I felt kind of like, okay, it's my wife's father, so it's good. But at the same time, I felt bad because like this guy hasn't paid into the system. He just got here and they're already saying, yeah, you need to see a heart doctor. Where was his country? So he's at home, triple bypass. He's getting better and everything else. He's watching Chinese television when they were living with us, when we were renting, the whole family was there, and they had Chinese TV on. And at that time, every year, the Chinese Communist Party has this big military parade, right? China Day. And he stood up and he saluted. And I was looking at him like, what are you doing? Of course, he doesn't understand me. And I'm giving this like awkward look.
Did you do a Nazi salute?
Nazi salute. You wouldn't even know what that means. And he's giving a salute. I'm like, they were going to let you die. But that's the thing, right? All these people, I can see a doctor. So, I have a rash. Quick, go see a doctor. So the system is breaking.
I mean, and I don't pay any taxes because I'm a scammer if I'm young enough, or I'm too old to contribute to the system. But my kids brought me here, and it's free.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you have this change of attitude. So there's no jobs. Where our exports are way down. They're like the first quarter of this year, they were half of what they were in the last quarter of last year, especially in aluminum and everything else. Then the canola sales stopped. The beef stopped. They want to stop garlic. Purchases from Canada, and so we have bad.
I saw something today from Japan saying that China is going to play the long game. They have no, they don't care. They're going to keep doing this. Sorry, Fred. Go ahead, though.
No. They can afford it and not afford it, right? So America really is their kitty, right? That's the big one, and the second comes Europe, and then whatever. We're just like the last, like Australia, New Zealand, Canada.
Yeah.
Right. But it's America and Europe. And the thing is, if the US can play a long game too, right? Because all they have to do is repatriate a lot of business. It's like, for example, I don't know if you know this. Foxconn, and there was two other ones that build the Apple iPhones. Well, the wages for Chinese workers has increased almost 1,000-fold. They used to make about $100 a month. Now they make like almost $800 a month, pretty much almost on par in some states in the US, right? So it's expensive to make shit in China. This is why they're upset that a lot of US firms are either going back to the States or they're going to places like Vietnam.
Yeah. Right. Which is good.
So they think they can play the long game, but it's not necessarily the ball may not be in their court.
Right.
So
if it was just us against them, then yeah. Right. But yeah, there's a huge larger context where America is also putting pressure on China right now. And this is where you see a lot of this stuff in the mainstream media and stuff right now, where you see the media and whatnot trying to almost ask Trudeau questions, you know what I mean, to make him give his typical response about this or that, to distance himself further and further from Trump, right? Which also makes us weaker and weaker, because he comes out just recently, about the statement he made about the senators, congresswomen, right? And Trudeau's like, oh, that's something that I wouldn't say. And you see a few different times he's come out and said statements about it, but he was always just shy of saying he's racist or he's this or that, right? So you see there's like this political game going on right now. And there who knows, there's probably foreign actors paying journalists or these people to put pressure on, to try to ruin the relationship even more. And Trudeau, it's like, he probably, I could tell he probably would want the relationship to be good, because then it would look good for him, right? But at the same time, he can't, because Trump is, the bad boogeyman. And if anybody comes out and says anything like, "Oh, I want to work with him," then they're gonna be, "Oh, what's the matter with you? You're evil, blah blah blah," right? But I don't know. It's the best thing that we could do right now is to become an ally with Trump. And listening to Scheer too speak about Trump it's very dismissive a lot of the times. It's like, I'm gonna work and I'll work out a better deal with Trump, but he's bigot and a racist and blah blah blah, essentially. And like, he's not gonna really, I don't think, do much better either. Well, probably a little bit better. I think anybody can really do better than Trudeau and Freeland at this point, to be honest. Like, a monkey could do better.
I want to answer Sidewalk's question. This he says, is the whole China thing, is China pissed off because of the Huawei thing? No. Actually, they've been pretty belligerent to their neighbors, the Indians and the Vietnamese. They've been actually in Vietnam. They've been cutting off a major river source for the Vietnamese that kind of crosses the border, and they just kind of dammed it all up. It's dried up the Vietnamese side, so they're pissing them off. Obviously, Taiwan, in Hong Kong, the protests are still going strong. The police have now are working with the Chinese government. They're starting to really become quite dictatorial, and they've been harassing Australia because Australia had thrown out some of these Chinese newly elected politicians who people have found out they have ties and affiliation memberships to the Communist Party. And then in Canada, we've been facing the same vitriol, not only because of Huawei, because like there's been a lot of talk about Chinese operatives. There's been arrests of other Chinese nationals here, and recently in Winnipeg, right?
Yeah. So the fucking lab.
Right. So this is not just related to Huawei. This is just kind of like what this is a kind of a global contest between the U.S., Europe, and China for global dominance right now, right? Because China's
and Russia sitting on the bench.
Russia's kind of comfortably sitting because they're in that little quadrant where they can ally quickly with Europe or Eastern Europe especially, or with China if they need to be. Because I remember during the Second World War, Russia was aligned with China until and then when Stalin felt that they were no longer necessary, he kidnapped one of the sons from Mao, who then Mao was like, I don't care, kill him. And Stalin didn't hesitate to do that. But the thing is that there's now a global dominance because even China has, people talk about America's military might and how much they spend on the military. Well, China's now just upped their military spending by another 20%.
Yeah, but China's military is untested. All right,
it's untested.
Your average.
They have the numbers.
Like your average NCO in the United States military has got more combat experience than the entire general brass of the Chinese military. So in a standout conflict, numbers don't mean shit. Like if your enemy's unproven, your enemy's unproven. They're going to falter.
Well, that's a misnomer, right? Because if you remember in the Second World War during the South Korean War or the Korean War, there was Chinese and Americans incursions to each other. They had battles, and actually the Americans were pushed back by the Chinese. So
yeah, but that was a full 2 generations ago.
Yeah, like
none of those generals are even serving in our militaries today, and they certainly wouldn't be serving in the Chinese.
the Chinese
the Chinese military is large. It's reasonably well equipped, but it's widely untested.
They don't
And
even
quite
come close
frankly,
to
we know-
American military spending, though. America still
Spending doesn't
outspends
equate
They
them.
to
don't need to
readiness,
come close to the
man.
military spending. Like
Yeah, but spending
they
doesn't-
function on a different level.
Like numbers mean squat nowadays, especially with like the type of technology and weapons
Yep.
that we have at our disposal. You know, it's like you could have a small little country fucking, you know, taking on a country of 1 billion people. Like, you know, if you have the right technology to do it, you can do
A
it.
country of 13 million held off all of NATO for 10 years, and now we're negotiating with them.
Right, and they got shit technology compared to everybody else, but just good enough that, you know, nobody wants to.
Cold War era Chinese rockets,
Yeah.
RPGs, AKs, and homemade IEDs.
Yeah. But also in the age of cyber warfare, I mean, countries can punch well above their weight.
Yes.
Militarily. I mean,
Yeah.
and cripple other nations in ways that, you know, much more efficiently than a rocket. In terms
Well,
of taking
yeah.
out, the infrastructure and whatnot of certain places that are still unprotected. And also the American, I feel that as much as America spends, and obviously they still have the largest military, but I feel they haven't really been tested in a long time. Obviously there hasn't been a world war or anything, but I believe that they're not as ready as they'd like us to believe. I don't think that all their planes. I've actually there was a study that was buried quickly that said that a report that said that, you know, really in terms of air readiness, maybe a third of the U.S.'s planes are ready for a conflict at this time. Not that they couldn't get the rest of them ready quickly, but also just because they spend a lot. I mean, that might also just mean that they're being taken advantage of. But also like pharmaceuticals, a lot of the R&D is done in the U.S. for pharmaceuticals, and the same is done for military. So there's a lot of
That's true.
profiteering.
The thing is,
There's
with
a
the
lot of
American military,
spending. There's a lot of things going on in the U.S. that don't necessarily equate to true military readiness, in my opinion. But not that I don't want them to be tested.
Their
That means bad
navy
news for
seems
everybody,
pretty
but,
capable.
sorry, I don't want them to be tested because that means bad news for everybody. That's a world war.
Well, at the
But,
same time, yeah, sure, but then you have to apply the same principles to the Chinese army. But I'm saying is that right now, militarily, in the size and the equipment that they're building, they're a little bit short of the Israeli army in effectiveness, right? But they can get there in no time, right? And they can do other things too, right? And then you have a whole diaspora spread across. For Christ's sakes, there's like 1.5 million of them in the Philippines. And how many Philippines on that little island? And they just elected a Chinese, I think, in Malaysia, Chinese descended. So diaspora is a big thing too, right? Because they could screw you up heavily. We have so many of them. And look at now. I mean, one individual gets arrested. They're already squawking at the courts. You should let her out. Well, you're Canadian. Why you care so much? We're obeying Canadian law.
Yeah, right. And you know, we are at a disadvantage when it comes to dealing with espionage and manipulation from the outside, because, you know, a lot of our people are not patriotic. It's been like, you know, bred out of them, not bred out, but like, you know, in school is told that nationalism is bad, you know, caring about your country, you know, multiculturalism is great, and all that stuff. And that, you know, you can't look at anybody differently. And I'm not advocating that either, but it is one thing to understand that, like you're saying, you know, like, you know, you got the Chinese that are potentially, that have people in your country doing shit in labs where they have some of the deadliest viruses and diseases on the fucking planet, you know, doing fucked up shit. You know what I mean? Like, whereas in China, you know, they're all Chinese. It's really hard to infiltrate the Chinese government with a white Canadian, right? Like, they're never going to let them in. But, you know, here in our multicultural societies, it's very easy to subvert and to manipulate from the outside.
Yep.
by just the individual. That's just a reality. I'm not saying that we need to look at people suspectly because they're Chinese or whatever, but it is an aspect that you do have to consider, or think about or understand at the very least. You don't necessarily have to just say no more Chinese, but just at least understand that, right? But go ahead.
I think I'm going to head out a little bit. I got to work tomorrow. It's going to be a long graveyard shift. But I was thinking of Chris, if you could play us one video to
send it over,
kind of to say goodnight to. It's a new movie, and it's I guess a new take on feeling sorry for hoes. Let me just put it in the chat, and you can play
hoes.
Yeah, just another add to where our society's going. We're supposed to feel sorry for hoes. Whores. All right. In the chat. You want to play it?
In different area codes. What? Okay, sorry. Oh, Cardi B. Okay, hang on. Let me put this over on this screen over here. So you're trying to gain sympathy for Ladies of the Night?
Yeah.
Hang on. All right. Let me
I hope Kel gets better. She has edema on. She can't sleep. I told maybe putting ice on it, and she says she's tried everything. Everybody subscribe. Hit the smash that like button and subscribe to Chris Gunderson on his very first.
Yeah. Well, somebody had to step in and straighten this chat out tonight.
I think this is the longest uninterrupted run we've done so far.
Well, that's because I'm running it.
Yeah.
Fred.
Okay. Yeah.
Zero, thanks for joining, buddy. Thanks for your contributions. A great
chat, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Okay, I got my screen sharing in 3, 2, 1, -1. Okay, there we go. Hustlers movie trailer. This looks like it's going to be very entertaining. All right, here we go.
Hey, go hook, me hook. From here you do carousel.
Are you sharing?
Just switch and rock.
Price 40% score to 60.
I just want to take care of my grandma, maybe go shopping every once in a while. When I was a kid, I always wanted to work with animals. I was close. These Wall Street guys. You see what we did to this country? They stole from everybody. Hardworking people lost everything. And not one of these douchebags went to jail. The game is rigged, and it does not reward people who play by the rules. It's like robbing a bank, except you get the keys. Are you in? These are my coworkers. Jobs, please. What if somebody calls the cops and says what? I spent $5,000 at a strip club. Send help. Damn. We're a family now. Damn. A family with money. Damn. And how would you say that things got out of control?
So the guy went back 3 more times. Guess he must have liked it.
Diamonds on my neck. I like more than jets. I like more than sex. But nothing in this world.
Oh, they gotta stop having these chick movies.
Who gave her phone back?
If I could roll my eyes back.
Don't you just feel sorry for hoes? Aren't they amazing? Hoes are going to save us from society.
I got hoes in different area codes. Area codes. Oh. Okay, no ludicrous fans here. All right, everybody, good night. Go to sleep. Go to your job.
Thank you all.
Slackers.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, y'all.
Sorry about the fuck ups tonight.
Thanks for having me, guys.
That's fine, buddy. Take care, everybody. Bye.
See ya.
Sucked.